Today we're going to learn about the Lakota Indians. Last week we learned about the Powhatan Indians. Let's see what you remember. Where did the Powhatan Indians live? Yes, in the eastern woodlands in Virginia. Do you remember the shape or the name of their houses? Very good. Their houses were kind of rectangular and they're called Yahakans or longhouses. How did the Powhatan move around? Yes, they walked and paddled canoes. So today we're going to learn about the Lakota Indians, and we're going to see if they have any similarities and differences with the Powhatan Indians. Remember that American Indians have lived in the United States for thousands of years. American Indians developed different cultures because they lived in different environments of North America. Native Americans today live very much like you and I. So we are studying American Indians of the past. So we've learned that the American Indians lived in different regions of the United States. So we learned that the Eastern Woodland lived in this region. And this region we call the coastal plains because it's near the coast and the land is flat. In Virginia, we also have a region called the Piedmont region, and it has hills. And then we have the Blue Ridge Mountains, which has old rounded mountains. So areas of land are split up by common characteristics. That means they have the same land. And we call those places a region. So places that have a common or the same characteristics is a region. So where did the Lakota or Sioux Indians live? The Lakota Sioux lived in the Great Plains region, in the top center of the United States. So up here. Let's take a closer look and see what states that would be. So our region again is a place that has the same characteristics. So where did the Lakota Sioux Indians live? They lived in North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, Wyoming, and Montana. Not very much into Montana, as you can see. But they lived in those areas. That is called the Plains region. And we're going to find out what it means to be in the Plains region. The Lakota region had a climate. That's the typical weather of an area, with harsh, cold winters and hot summers. So that's a little bit different from the Powhatan because the Powhatan had pretty mild winters. So they go from very cold winters to hot summers. The land was dry and the land was very flat. So we have grasslands and prairies, which we learned about during our habitats unit. So you can see how flat it is, that there's not a lot of trees. So we just have very grassy land. They did have some plant life, which was grass and wildflowers. The Powhatan Indian had a variety of plant life, which made it a lot easier for them to farm. So the Lakota Indians have a harsh, cold winter and hot summer. So they go from very hot to cold. It's dry there and flat, and they only have grasses and wildflowers. What do you think that they're going to hunt? The Powhatan Indians hunted deer. What do you think the Lakota Indians will hunt? So here you can see the difference between their summer and their winter. So the summer, it's very dry and hot. You can tell it's dry because the grass isn't green anymore. And in the winter, it's harsh and cold, and look at all that snow. The Lakota and Sioux were nomadic. That means that they went up and traveled from place to place to follow buffalo. So they had to make their house movable because they had to follow the trail that a buffalo did in their life. So their lifestyle was based on hunting buffalo. They made teepees from long wooden poles covered with bison or buffalo hides. So just like we had deer skins with the Powhatan, they used buffalo to make their houses. And their houses are very movable. There's a video to watch after this of how to move a teepee. Here are some different teepee styles. And you can see that they decorated them. I bet you want to know how to make a teepee. Well, to make a teepee, you have to scrape the buffalo hides clean. That means you scrape off all the membranes in the fur and let it dry just like we did with the deerskin. Then you're going to sew several buffalo hides together. So you can see here how they've sewn those hides together. There's pieces of different ones. And then you're going to put up wooden poles for a frame. You're going to stretch the buffalo hides over the poles to cover it. And then here is your inside. It takes about 10 buffalo hides to cover a teepee. The teepees kept the Lakota cool in the summer and warm in the winter. On hot days, or when a fire was lit, the Lakota would open the top flaps to let the smoke out. Very similar to the Powhatan letting out of the top of their house. So the Powhatan had long houses called yahakans, and the Lakota have teepees. They're shaped more like a triangle or a cone. Here we are inside of the home. In the center of this teepee was a fire, which was used for keeping warm in the winter or for cooking during a rainy weather. Most of the time, Native Americans would cook outside. How would you like to live in a house like this? I don't see any roadblocks. I don't even think you have your own room. Man, are you guys lucky. So the Powhatan used canoes and walked around to get from place to place. So the Lakota were a little different. They did walk from place to place for many, many, many years. And then something magical happened. The Spanish brought over horses, and they were amazed by this creature that they had never seen before. So this changed their culture. They adapted and started using the horses as a way to travel. And using a horse would be better because it's going to be way faster. Dressing like a Lakota Sioux Indian. Men wore buffalo skin tunics. And you can see in the summer, it's just going to be like a long skirt. Some men wore feather headdresses. So you can see in the picture that they have feathers there. Women and girls wore red buffalo dresses that could be decorated with shells or rabbit fur. So you can see here that there's fur on there and they put some shells in it. For special ceremonies, buffalo skins would be decorated and worn. Men and boys' occupations. Occupations, again, are jobs. Some Sioux men and boys were warriors. The more battles they were in, the more feathers their headdresses had. So you could tell who was a warrior by looking at their feathers. They were also hunters. They hunted buffalo and used bow and arrows to kill them or spears. When they first started, they would try to cause a stampede, and a buffalo would be pushed over the side of a cliff, and then they would be ready to finish that poor buffalo off. Women and girls' occupation or jobs. Women and girls cooked and gathered berries, wood, and grains. They would carve buffalo into skins, bones for bowls, and tools. So none of that buffalo went to waste, and they used the buffalo hair to make rope. Contributions. Contributions are something that somebody gives that we use for a long time. So what do we get from the Lakota Sioux Indians? We got legends and stories, a respect for nature, and art, jewelry, pottery, and weaving. So we still see examples of their art today. Great job learning about the Lakota Indians. Today you're going to make a drawing for each of the sections that we learned about today. So you're going to write what region they lived in. They lived in the plains, and you're going to draw a picture. How did they travel around? Yeah, they walked or used horses. So you're going to complete the page that was sent home with the regions of, I said regions, I mean sections. So you're going to write down what kind of homes they had. What did they have? Yeah, teepees. So you're going to draw a picture of a teepee. Occupations or jobs. What jobs do they have? Yeah, they were warriors or hunters. So you can draw an example of that. What was the climate like? Yeah, it was really harsh in the winter with a lot of snow and dry in the summer. So go ahead and use your study guide that was sent home to write down each of these things and draw a picture.